Hey everybody, welcome back to Electric Cafe. Today's video is an album review on Gary Numan's fifth album called Warriors. This album came out in 1983. It's kind of an album of contention for Gary Numan and probably his fans. Um, and probably me so as well. I really like all of his albums, all of his solo albums up to this point. And then also his two-way army stuff. Albums are really good as well. Um, this one kind of shows the sign of trying some new things, but them maybe not working so well. Um, he's definitely adamant about Gary Newman's definitely adamant about maybe the decisions he made on this album. Um, you know this album is the first time he had somebody come in and help produce the album, which caused a lot of conflict in the direction of the album. And then also, he had a lot of session players come in and play on this album, and some of them are very good, but it necessarily maybe the way they were used, maybe in the conflict of the producers having issues over the direction, and it, although they did a good job, I think it may have added to the wrong direction that the songs were going. It's definitely an album that has, um, I don't know, really, I don't know if it's no direction, but it, it doesn't, I don't know, it's just this, the only direction I feel like the album has is more towards a well-rounded sounding album musically, and I think Gary Newman kind of points to that, saying that's why he had a lot of different musicians, because he was trying to improve the musicmanship or the musicality of his album compared to the last couple albums. I'm sure at some point when you're doing really minimal kind of rock and electronic music like he was doing, and he wants to sort of evolve, and he's probably getting more budget. He's a household name at this point, especially in the UK, and probably has a lot of money for studio time, and and maybe he's Gary Newman seems like a really nice guy, really cool guy, but he really knows what he wants. And but I'm sure, like all musicians, they have a little bit of an ego in the direction they want, and the sound that they want, the sound that they're looking for, and maybe at this point, maybe some outside influences sort of probably helped steer the album towards maybe not a favorable direction for the fans or even himself. So yeah, I'm going to get into the album and review each song individually, and then review the album as an overall and give it a score. The first track, Warriors, is right out of the gate is my favorite song on the album. I really like this song in a lot of ways, and I like the extended versions. There's some different versions that I really like. The single version is really cool. The extended version, even the shortened version, the more single version's good, but I really like the album version as well. Mick Karn from Japan plays fretless bass on a lot of these songs, if not all of them. But he really shows it on the title track. Song has a really strong groove. The mechanical sounds are kind of cool. I don't know if that's due to him trying to, there's some people making kind of jokes. Is he kind of the Mad Max now? With the look and stuff like that. But that's Gary Newman. He's into the darker look. It's funny that they would think that just because he sort of is wearing leather, maybe maybe the blonde hair kind of threw it. Maybe the lack of different kind of makeup, kind of going away from sort of the goth, lonely look, versus going towards a warrior look. And maybe that's because the warrior looks. Maybe that's leading to why the press kind of made, wouldn't say made fun of him, but kind of made poke jokes at him and his Mad Max kind of look. But the mechanical sounds on here are cool. I really like his singing, the strong chorus. I really like the song a lot. It's why it made me buy the album. Way back when. I got 3.5 stars. Um, I Am Render, the second track. Bass is cool. The saxophone isn't bad. It's just a little odd. Um, do I like what I'm listening to? That's a question that comes up a lot during this album. It's confusing, and I don't know if some of it's partly because of the saxophone. You're like, is this a darker, like Warriors is kind of a darker song. I feel like um, Gary Newman's tend to be a darker style, but then you hear a saxophone and you hear, like some background singing in like I can't remember which song has background singing. This Prison Moon um, has some background singing. So thankfully Mick Karn's bass kind of keeps it on point to make it feel alternative. If it would have been a different bass player, I think this would have been way too poppy. But it's just confusing because his voice is dark. His the bass is fairly darker, groovy and funky. You know what I mean? There's some keyboards on here tend to be a little bit moody, but then you have a saxophone, and then you have a background singer. So you're like, is this a poppy? So it's just the direction of the sound. You're like, am I? So you want to like it. You want to like Gary Numan. You like Gary Numan. I like everything Gary Numan did up to this point. I like the title song, and then you hear something like "I Am Render," and you're like, it's kind of confusing your opinion about it because you like Gary Numan. I love McCartney's bass playing. I love atmosphere. I like unique sounding. I like artsy music. I like different sounding music, and it's not way too like trying to be pop, but it's like I don't know. I mean, sometimes a little bit of jazz in here where I'm like, is it a jazzy direction they're going, or? But it's just I don't know. It just doesn't fully work. I gave I Am Render a star. It's okay. The Iceman Cometh is probably my second favorite song on the album, along with The Prison Moon. I like the changes in this, the musical moments. It's moody and eerie. The keyboards are nice. Maybe too jazzy of a direction. I could see this if Newman had his way 100%. Maybe at the time where they didn't have another producer and this went a little bit more moody. This could have been an amazing song. It has all the elements of it, but it just doesn't kind of fizzles out a little bit and really doesn't go there. I got 2 3/4 stars, right below very good. Again, if he was doing it by himself and if it was self produced, I feel like it could have been an amazing song, and I think it would have went there. Track 4, also 2 3/4 stars. Nice, cool groove. Classic Gary Numan singing. I like the changes. The background singing is okay, but not okay at times. Um, More saxophone I have. There's a lot of saxophone on this album. There's a good 4 or 5 songs that have saxophone. And I'm not saying it's horrible. On these ones, it's okay, but towards the end, it kind of like the last song, I was like, it's kind of worn out its welcome. um, Kind of a short song. Could have been longer. Could have been better too. 2 3/4 stars. My Centurion, pretty good groove here. Overall, it's okay. 1.5 stars. Also, 1.5 stars of Sister Surprise. It's got some cool sounds, some decent musicmanship. Doesn't really get to the point where I can feel like I can call it a good song though. The TikTok Man, my least liked song, along with I Am Render, 1 star. Just doesn't do much for me. It's okay. Love is Like a Clock Law. Classic Newman type singing. Karn bass is strong. Better song. More moody. 2 1/4 stars. Then the last song, The Rhythm of the Evening. Music on the second half isn't bad. I said again, the sax really worn out its welcome on this track. 1.25 stars. It's a little bit better than okay. Um, so the overall good of the album, the title track, a few almost very good songs, Iceman Cometh and This Prison Moon. Definitely a more musical album for some. Might like this album. For me, it's kind of a mixed bag. The opportunities, far too many okay songs. I got three okay songs. Lack of direction, co-produced probably being a problem. It's it's too bad Gary Numan didn't produce it himself. Definitely the conflict of the album. Production is a little muddy in the lower frequencies, like the drums and the bass. Mostly the drums are a little muddy. Um, just kind of maybe not engineered very well. I take that back. It's engineered well. Actually it's a combination of the mixing and the engineering. There's some good sounds in there. I feel like everything's recorded pretty well, but some some kind of it's just a little muddy, and especially in the lower frequencies. It's not all that dynamic too, but I feel like it is pretty well produced. I mean, pretty well engineered, but um, could have been a little bit better. So when I add up the total of the stars, I got it 17 and a half divided by 9 songs. 1.94 stars per song average, so under a 2, which, looking at my score, under a 2.0 is a 50. So I can't necessarily give any extra stars on this song. Sorry, my phone was ringing. Um, Where's 434 area code? 434 area code. Um, yeah, I feel like I couldn't really give this any extra credit or any extra stars for what it is. It's definitely. I feel like it's an okay album. I kept it okay album. I got it. I think the stars match up well with my score for the overall album. It's a 48 out of 100. So just under. Well, I guess that is under okay, huh? Yeah, yeah, it's under okay. So it's right on the okay. It's a little bit below average for sure for Gary Numan. I feel like, and that fully makes sense. So 48 out of 100 for Gary Numan's 1983 album Warrior. Um, Curious, what's your opinion on the Warrior? The Warrior's gone. The Warrior's back. The Warrior's gone. The Warrior's back. All right, thanks for watching.